Okay, we are here with a trade recap from April 10th and wanted to show you a trade that I took live yesterday. And this is a trade that we see over and over. We call the pocket trade. So here it is. Um, what's distinct about the pocket trade is you'll price action will go into a support area like this and start to stall out, and then you see what I call an ignition event. So it just rockets out of this bottom, and this bar is powerful and large enough that it closes above all the resistance to the left, and it closes above this 21 period moving average right here. Okay, so what I'm looking for when this happens is a reversal, which obviously occurred, and we call it a pocket because it will tuck back into a little pocket here near the 21 period moving average, and typically just shoot out of there like a rocket. So this is all in hindsight. Obviously, I didn't know what was going to happen next. I took this trade. I entered right here at the 21 period moving average. My stop was anything below this 8 period moving average, which was the blue line. And, you know, there's two things to consider here on stops with these trades, because you could say, well, I'll stop out if it closes below the 21. But a lot of times, as you can see here, it's trying to form support at the 21, so it'll go back and forth and back and forth. So that's not necessarily a good stop. The safest stop in terms of keeping you in the trade is down here at the lowest support level. However, that's also where you're going to lose the most money if you stop out, because that would have given me potentially a 6 point loss or even greater, which is pretty steep. That's why I chose a stop up here at the 8 period moving average. It was a little bit higher risk that I'd get bumped out, but I was okay with that. I was also not trying to grab too many points here. I saw this 200 period moving average, and my plan was just to get out right there, which I did right here 2 minutes later, and profited almost 4 points on this trade. Anything you want to add to that, Colton, before I move on to the next one?
No, I just wanted to mention that while looking for a profit target on this trade in particular, when you see it start to wick like that, that's another great reason to take profit where you did.
Right here.
Um, yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But other than that, no, I think it looks great.
Yeah, it
Great
was
trade.
it was a good trade. I Now here's what's interesting. This trade, in one form or another, basically occurred 4 or 5 times yesterday. So if I'll zoom out, yeah, here was the first one. So roughly 9:15 in the morning yesterday. So we're down in the basement here, forming support, and in the bottom end, and then it rockets out of that support level, closes above the 21, and you can see it comes back, and let me zoom in, comes back and tests the 21 here, and then takes off, right?
Yep.
Happened again right here. Strong close above the 21, comes back and tests the 21, takes off. Happened again right here. And of course, the trade that I took right there. Now we are filming this a day later, and this happened again this morning. We just took this trade live together as well. Let me take this off here, not to confuse anyone. So you can see it happened again here. We found support, came back and tested that support, rocket above the 21. Now I did not take this trade. I say we took this together. We were talking about it together. You took it, Colton, and I did not. You want to explain what you did here and why?
Yeah, so just like Travis was saying, we were down here lower on the lower level, what he calls the basement, and we found support and rocketed above the previous resistance and the 21 moving average. And we came back down to the 21 and found support again. And one thing we didn't mention previously, when you come back down to the 21, you want to wait for a close. Uh, that's my rule. I don't want to enter as soon as we touch the 21, because it may continue straight back through the 21 like it did on its way up, and you would be in a trade that you don't want to be in. But we had a close there, and that was our indication to get in, and then you see the profit target there that he has drawn out.
Now, that's a really good point because yesterday, and a lot of times, I will get in on a touch right here of the 21. It is riskier. It is riskier because, like
Yeah.
you said, it's better to find out where it closes once it gets to the 21.
Mm-hmm.
And when we were talking about this live, you said you like to wait for 2 to 3 candles around this 21 to see what happens. And in this case, we were forming support there, and you went ahead and got in, right?
Yes,
So,
that the 2 to 3 candle touch just depends on everyone's risk tolerance. Everybody will have a different way of taking that trade with the same basic rules. I like the 2 to 3 candle touch because if you've touched that and held that level for 2 to 3 candles, it's a lot stronger than it is if you just touched it once.
that's
Not
true.
to say I'm not saying it won't work if it just touches it once, but it just shows that level is stronger.
That's right. And then, okay, a couple key things here to point out. There's two really well, there's 2 or 3 key areas where you could choose a stop level. Let's talk through that real quick. So you could say I'm going to stop out. Let's say you got in here. Um, this is maybe not the best trade to illustrate that. Let's say you got it. Let's say you waited and got in right here on this candle, on this this candle here, and you said, okay, I'm going to get in at the 21. I'm going to stop out if it closes below the 21. That's one scenario, right?
Yep.
That wouldn't have worked here. You'd have been stopped out immediately. The second scenario is you get in around the 21 and you say, I'm going to stop out if it closes below this power bar that fired, this substantially large bar. That's another option. What I don't like about that, and I actually did it yesterday, that was kind of my strategy, and sometimes I will do it, but what I don't like about that is once you get below the 21, coming back down to this support area is often likely.
Yes.
So really, this is somewhat of an inadequate stop level if you're back on this side of the 21. It should almost be down here.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess, what are your thoughts on that, on choosing a stop level here, when really there's potentially 3 scenarios?
Well, the first scenario that I like to use, if I can, is a stop right below the 21. But if in this, what you have laid out here, this example, that would not work because we're crossing over the 8 and 21 back and forth, and that's our support. So I wouldn't want to make my stop out in the middle of the support there. So I would want to make it like the power bar that you mentioned there on the left. I'd want to make it there at the bottom of that. That's where I'd place my stop,
Right here.
which is a little bit below the 21, but it's really the bottom of the support. Uh,
Yeah, especially
but
with
those,
these 4 or 5 candles that stayed above the support level, it was showing us that was the new support, not down here, right?
yeah,
So,
those are the 2 I use the most because, like you mentioned previously, you don't want to hold to the bottom if you can keep from it because that turns from a 2-point stop into a 6 or 8-point stop pretty fast.
yeah, I mean, this would have been 8 points.
Yeah.
And we teach that you need to really wait and for a close of a candle below your stop. So if this thing closed even further, you could find yourself in a 10-point loss or even greater, which is really not good.
Exactly.
So, okay, all right. Well, those are 5 or 6 great pocket trades, and we'll be doing those on a regular basis. Those are great trades.